Breached or stolen passwords are the bane of any organization's cybersecurity team. According to Norton, stolen, weak, or reused passwords cause over 80% of all data breaches. But passwords are a part of life. We use them for websites, apps, and more. So companies need a secure way to share passwords with employees and help them manage their passwords more effectively. And one solution that has gained popularity in recent years is using password managers. So today we're going to explore the benefits of password managers and dive into why they're one of the more secure ways to share passwords with employees. Hello everyone, and happy Groundhog's Day. I'm Michael Kinnett, CEO and founder of Itronal Networks. Every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, I go live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn to discuss the latest in technology and cybersecurity news that may affect your business, and also cover some educational topics to help achieve our goal of helping others to build safe and secure environments to do what they love. At the end of our live session, I'll also be answering questions from the audience. So if you've got any, get them ready, post them in the comments, and I'll cover those at the end. First, a couple of things, some headlines here. I want to share some information with you. There's a proposed bill in Florida that seeks to establish a safe harbor for companies and organizations in the state regarding cybersecurity breaches. The legislation aims to incentivize businesses to invest in strong cybersecurity measures by providing them with certain protections if they fall victim to a cyber attack. The safe harbor provisions would shield organizations from liability and potential litigation if they can demonstrate that they have implemented reasonable cybersecurity practices and promptly reported any breaches to the appropriate authorities. The bill is viewed as a positive step towards encouraging cybersecurity preparedness and collaboration in Florida. I'm going to be following it closely to see if it passes, and two, if it leads to any legislation in other states that are similar. There was a cyber attack that targeted a children's hospital, Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago. It resulted in the hospital taking its systems offline as a precautionary measure. And from all the information that's come out, I think that this hospital seems to have a pretty good program in place. I was pretty impressed as I was reading about their response. The attack affected the hospital's communication systems and electronic medical records, which led to the disruption in patient care and the need to reschedule some of their non-emergency procedures. The hospital implemented its incident response procedures, engaged external cybersecurity experts, and notified law enforcement agencies. And while the investigation is still ongoing, so far there's no evidence of any unauthorized access to patient data that's been found so far. The hospital is still working diligently to restore systems and provide uninterrupted care to its patients. One other announcement. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. There's an update to this. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, issued a directive ordering federal agencies to disconnect Ivanti VPN, or virtual private network appliances, by tomorrow, due to some critical security vulnerabilities. CISA's action is in response to an investigation that revealed that several government agencies were compromised as a result of a supply chain attack involving a software update for Ivanti's Pulse Connect secure VPN solution. So the current directive aims to mitigate further risks and secure the federal networks by disconnecting the affected VPN appliances, conducting security assessments, as well as implementing some necessary remediation measures. Ivanti has released patches to address the vulnerabilities, and they urge their customers to apply them as soon as possible. So if you use Ivanti, you could consider removing it, or at minimum, installing the patches that have been released to make sure that you're not exposed to that risk. And now on to our discussion for today. How can you build and boost your company's cybersecurity using a password manager? Cybersecurity threats are rampant, and safeguarding sensitive information has never been more critical. Properly managing passwords securely is definitely a top priority. At the same time, employees deal with more passwords than ever. LastPass estimates that people have an average of 191 work passwords. Since you can't get around to passwords, how do you share them So you can't get around passwords. How do you share them with your employees safely and securely? And the solution is password managers. We highly recommend using password managers. Password managers give you a secure digital vault for safeguarding and protecting your passwords. The business versions have setups for separating work and personal passwords. They also have some special administrative functions so that companies never lose a critical password. So I'm going to talk a little bit about and share 7 of the reasons that you should consider getting a password manager for better data security in your organization. First, centralized password management. A primary advantage of password managers is their ability to centralize password management. They keep employees from using weak, repetitive passwords and also from storing them in vulnerable places, such as an unencrypted spreadsheet or text file on their desktop. Instead, a password manager stores all passwords in an encrypted vault. The centralized method enhances security and also streamlines the process of sharing password securely within a team, which leads to the next reason why they should be used, and that's they have end-to-end encryption. Leading password managers use robust encryption techniques to protect the sensitive data. End-to-end encryption scrambles the passwords and turns them into unreadable text when stored as well as transmitted. This makes it nearly impossible for any unauthorized user to access the information. When sharing passwords with employees, encryption provides an extra layer of security to help ensure that the data remains confidential even when it's being transmitted. The next reason that we recommend password managers has to do with their sharing features. Password managers often come with secure password sharing features that allow administrators to share passwords with team members and to do it without revealing the actual password. Instead, employees can access the required credentials without seeing the characters. This ensures that employees do not have direct access to any sensitive information, and it's particularly useful when onboarding new team members, as well as when collaborating on projects that might require access to specific accounts. Essentially, the password manager signs in the user using those shared credentials without the user ever actually seeing the credentials. The next reason is many password managers support multi-factor authentication, or MFA. We talk about this all the time. It's one of the best steps that you can take to protect accounts. By adding MFA to your password manager, it adds an extra and an important, I would almost say essential layer of security. MFA requires 2 or more forms of verification before allowing access to an account. It significantly reduces the risk of unauthorized access. According to Microsoft, it lowers risk by 99.9%. This makes it an essential feature for businesses looking to enhance password security, especially when sharing sensitive information with employees. Number 5, password generation and complexity is so much easier with a password manager, and that's because they have built-in password generators. They can create strong, complex passwords that are difficult to crack. When sharing passwords with employees, employers can use these generated passwords and ensure that employees are using strong, unique passwords for each account. This eliminates the common practice of using weak passwords or repeating passwords and reusing passwords across multiple accounts. This feature helps to mitigate the risk of those security breaches as a result of those. Number 6, password managers contain auditing capabilities. They have audit trails as well as some activity monitoring. Monitoring is a valuable feature offered by most modern password managers. It provides the ability to track user activity and access history. Now, before you say, well, what kind of privacy is that if we're tracking everything that they're doing? Let me explain that a little bit. Admins can track who accessed which passwords and when. The reason that that's important is it provides some transparency and accountability within the organization and helps to identify any suspicious activities. It also allows companies to take prompt action in the event that an employee leaves or is terminated. They can see what accounts they had access to, when they had access to them, and can then go in and implement password rotations for those systems that employee shouldn't have access to anymore, which once again ensures the protection of your accounts across your company. Our last and final reason is secure password sharing with third parties. These password managers offer secure methods for sharing credentials, not only within your organization, but also outside of your organization to any third-party collaborators or contractors. Companies can grant these external parties limited access to specific passwords. They can do it without compromising security. The functionality is particularly useful for businesses that are working with any external agencies or freelancers on various projects. It keeps control of the passwords within the organization, and you never have to worry about losing a password when the only employee who knows it leaves. Password managers offer a much more secure and much more convenient way to share passwords with employees, with outside vendors, with managers, with their team, etc. All the things that we've talked about. They're really an indispensable tool for businesses that are aiming to enhance their cybersecurity posture. Investing in a password management solution is a proactive step towards safeguarding valuable data in your organization. If you need help securing a password manager, you can always reach out to me and my staff. We've talked about various ones in the past. We use Keeper and highly recommend it. In fact, we provide it to the majority of our clients and help them in getting set up with it and using it. We'd love to do that same for you. Cybersecurity risk assessments are critical to any plan surrounding your cybersecurity. Password managers are just one piece in a company's security plan. And to give you an in-depth look at how cybersecurity risk assessment can help your business in identifying where your risk is and the steps that you can take to protect yourself and to increase and implement your cybersecurity plan, we have an upcoming webinar that's free. We're going to be talking about cybersecurity risk assessments and how to identify what your company needs to do to one, build and two, increase your security plan. We're going to be covering that February 15th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be starting off that conversation by talking about the most significant cyber threats that face law firms and other businesses in Nevada and around the country today. And these risks continue to increase. We talked about the news, hospitals and law firms and accounting firms and all these people that are getting hit with cyber attacks. It's only increasing. So we're going to talk about what you can do to identify your risk and provide some actionable steps to mitigate those risks moving forward. It's a free training session. It's your opportunity to better understand and to build a plan to secure your company's digital future. There's a link below. We're going to drop it in the comments in the chat as well. We'd love to have you on there and have a conversation about cybersecurity and more specifically about the risks associated with it. Let's see if we have any comments from our audience. I don't see anything in the chat here in the comments. Thanks for joining though today and listening. Hopefully you find this information helpful. If you do have any comments, any questions at all about cybersecurity, about risk in general, about technology, I love talking to people about that. I love helping people to learn more. I think the biggest part of my responsibility is providing education around cybersecurity, around IT, and I love doing that. So if you do have any questions, direct message me. You can call our office. You can visit our website at itnet.works. There's email addresses and phone numbers on there. We're on social media. If you're watching, you're seeing us on our social media pages. There's lots of ways of getting in touch with us. Whatever's most convenient for you, and we'll gladly respond and reach out to answer your questions. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.